welcome. We're very glad to have him here tonight. The doctor himself, Cy Ramati.
Great to be here.
Good to see you. Thank you for being part of this show.
Yeah.
First of all, you gotta tell my audience.
The commercial flight.
How do you perform on a commercial flight?
You know, the best part, it's a captive audience. Where are we going to go? On the wing if they don't like you? It's great. I just performed in Los Angeles with Ed McMahon at the Improv.
Okay.
And then we're returning from Las Vegas to Houston. And some people had seen me at a club in Houston.
I see.
And they went to the flight attendants and they said, hey, this guy is a comedian. Next thing I know, the flight attendant is talking to me. Hey, how about just coming up and doing a few minutes?
Now, what airline was this?
This was the one that kind of flies south and west. If you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay. So what did they pay you, peanuts?
Yeah, peanuts. Yeah, peanuts, exactly.
This is great. This is great. Now, you know, Cy, I've known you, and I know that when you was on that Ed McMahon show, you actually pulled off as a winner on that show.
Yes, I ended up, and I think early on you made some really excellent comments about, you know, navigating your, you know, focus, staying focused, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to sell yourself, you want to stay creative. But with Ed McMahon, I think it was unbelievable. I just sent in a tape. Next thing I know, I get a call saying you're one of the contestants. There were 36 that they picked out of 150.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, they actually narrowed it down to 2 people.
Wow.
And I won the contest.
Well,
yes.
that's excellent. That is excellent. As a matter of fact, I believe we have a clip on some of the work you've done. You did some work on a show here called the Houston Comedy Games.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
It was quite significant, and I understand you rated quite high in that game.
Well, let's check it out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think we have.
Maybe it's the horror of comedy.
At least some of it. It's got to be a horror at 30,000 feet, you know. But why don't we take a look at that tape?
I don't know if you found out this afternoon they shut down Hobby Airport for almost an hour. And I want to be the first one to come out and apologize. I just went there to pick up a cousin of mine. They said my behavior was suspicious. I said, Officer Ashcroft, I am a Vietnamese Mexican. Yo me llamo Pancho Sancho Miguel Buen de la Hoya. Right about you, everyone is looking at me saying, where is this exquisite accent from? It's exquisite. Yeah. And most of you have guessed it, I'm originally from the West Coast.
Real nice. Now, I understand that game, that Houston Comedy Game show was quite a episode of some continuous hours. You performed for quite a while.
It was a 2-day deal, and then we had 70 different comedians from Houston and surrounding areas. There were comedians that had flown from like Connecticut.
I see.
And then we had the improvisation. The next day we had like sketch comedy, and it was really pretty entertaining and quite a learning experience. The best part, we got to meet a lot of comedians.
I see. Yeah, a lot of colleagues.
But, one of the things you're talking about, horrors of comedy. You know,
absolutely.
Maybe I can relate to it. You know, right now there is a lot of issue about immigration in America, right?
Right.
And people are talking about how can we contain immigration. I have a solution, Thomas. May I share it with you?
Please.
I think what we need to do is some of the comedy club owners, I think we need to move them into the immigration department. Because they're impossible to reach. You can have someone from Jordan calling and saying, I would like to have a visa. Well, sir, he's not in right now. The head man is not in.
That's a great point you're thinking right there, Cy, because you and I both know you never
immigration will go down.
Yeah, reaching a comedy club owner. Yeah, it's kind of like getting a doctor's appointment on HMO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably worse than. And then there is the screener, you know, the person who answers the phone.
Right.
Like one time I asked this person in one of the cities, I said, is there a time when your boss is in but you are not in? You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to do all this thing. You know, that's the horror of comedy.
Right,
you know?
right. But I tell you, this thing on the Southwest Airlines, I just can't get it in my head. I mean, I've done comedy for years, and like I say, I've worked with some significant others, and
See, that I think, Thomas, it's a funny thing, and I think you and I have talked about it offline, which is, I think, what I have learned, and I am not as, you have been in comedy since 1980. Yes. I've been doing it for 5 years, close to 5 years. And what I have learned is that you have to continue to focus on your talent, you have to be good to the people around you, and be prepared. This is the hard part. Yes. Always be prepared.
Be prepared.
And then, that's why that happened at the plane. Okay, I was prepared. I was kind of excited, and I went and did it,
Man, I'll tell you, well, that's got to be a first. I don't think anybody can compete with you on that. Unless, of course, they're in the Sky High Club and they're on a private jet. But we're talking about a commercial flight, and you actually did stand up.
That is right. That is
and
right.
A captive audience is certainly an understatement.
I felt good about it. It was
I'm sure.
To see,
I'm sure. And I understand that the passengers were quite receptive once the plane landed. They were all over you at the terminal.
It's a funny thing. They forgot a little bit about turbulence and all that. By the time we landed, they were all relaxed. And so laughter does work. See, there is I think there is a silver lining to this cloud of horror that we talk about.
Okay.